I am Jessica Turner, 32 years old and owner of a luxury hotel chain that people dream about staying in just once. I started as a hospitality student with huge ambitions, but I was still chasing approval from parents who always dismissed my path. My phone lit up with Mom's text, "This hotel doesn't welcome useless people." Right after the security guard grabbed my arm and shoved me toward the exit firm and without a second thought. As I stumbled out into the lobby, chaos guests and staff stared, some chuckling, "Good acting," like it was all a show. The irony hit hard. Their fancy hotel was actually mine. I just smiled, pulled out my phone and texted security, "Revoke the Turner family's VIP access immediately." Before we dive deeper into my story, I want to know what time you're listening and from which city. I'm thrilled to see how far this tale spreads. Hit like and subscribe to catch the full family showdown in the most upscale imaginable backdrop. Growing up in University Park, a wealthy Dallas suburb, my childhood seemed perfect on the surface. My parents, Christopher and Amanda Turner, were the image of success. My father, a corporate lawyer. My mother, a fixture on charity boards. Their colonial-style home screamed status with its pristine lawn and gated driveway. But behind closed doors, status was everything. Law or finance were the only paths worth pursuing. Hospitality, my father called it a servant's job, his voice dripping with disdain whenever I brought it up. My obsession with hotels started young. On family vacations to places like Aspen or the Hamptons, while my parents networked with other power couples, I'd slip away to explore the lobbies. The way staff moved like a well-oiled machine fascinated me. Every gesture, polished, every guest need anticipated. I'd collect brochures, sketch floor plans, even charm concierges into explaining how they handled VIPs. By 10, I could explain the difference between a standard check-in and a 5-star welcome. "Jessica, stop pestering the staff," Mom would snap, pulling me back to the pool. "They're busy." Dad would just shake his head, muttering to her, "She'll outgrow this silly phase." That phase never ended. My bedroom became a shrine to hotel ephemera key cards, branded notepads, even tiny soap bars I sweet-talked housekeeping into giving me. But to my parents, it was childish nonsense. They had other plans. "You'll make a fine lawyer," Dad would say, pointing to my straight-A report cards. My high school years were packed debate team captain editor of the school paper, but none of it mattered unless it led to their approved future. When I won a statewide essay contest on boutique hotel innovation, Dad barely glanced at it. "That's nice, honey," he said, eyes on his legal briefs, "but focus on your economics coursework. That's what gets you into a top college." College application season brought the real fight. My parents pushed for Ivy League schools, Harvard, Yale, maybe Princeton for finance or law. I had other ideas. I secretly applied to NYU's hospitality program, one of the best in the country. When the acceptance letter arrived, my hands shook opening it. This was my shot at the life I wanted. Showing my parents was a mistake. The air in our dining room turned ice cold. "This isn't what we discussed," my father said, his voice low and sharp. "Turners don't work in service jobs." I stood my ground, heart pounding. "This is the path I'm choosing," I said, surprising myself with the steel in my voice. Their response was brutal. "If you pick this, you're on your own," Dad said. "No tuition, no support." I chose independence. With student loans and 3 part-time jobs, front desk at a local hotel waitressing weekends, tutoring rich kids in French, I clawed my way through NYU. Contact with my parents faded. Birthday calls were quick, awkward. Holiday visits felt like walking on eggshells. My younger brother Joshua was their golden boy, already on track for law school. My sister Megan, 5 years younger, was the baby they doted on, her teaching career seen as cute but acceptable. Graduation day was the final straw. I finished NYU with honors, top of my hospitality class. My parents didn't show they were at Joshua's law school ceremony the same weekend. "You understand, Jessica," Mom said over the phone, her tone clipped. "It's a big moment for him." I sat alone on campus watching other families celebrate, the sting of their absence burning deep. They'd chosen Joshua's path over mine again. Something broke inside me that day. As I packed my diploma, I made a silent vow I'd build something so undeniable they'd regret ever calling my dreams useless. That promise became my fuel, pushing me toward a future they couldn't ignore. That vow to make my parents regret dismissing me burned like a fire. At 22, fresh from NYU, I moved to Houston, landing a front desk job at a boutique hotel in the heart of the city. The pay barely covered my tiny Montrose apartment shared with 2 other hospitality grads, but I was finally in the industry I loved. I worked grueling hours, overnight shifts, covering for no-shows, studying every detail of hotel operations. Sleep was a rare treat. When colleagues groaned about tough guests, I saw opportunities to shine. 6 months in a VIP threw a fit over a double-booked suite. As he raised his voice at my coworker, I stepped in, calmly reassigning him to a better room with a personal apology and a complimentary upgrade. He left a glowing review. Unbeknownst to me, Lauren Mitchell, a sharp colleague who'd been watching, took note. "You handled that like a pro, Jessica," she said, approaching the desk. "What's your name again?" That moment changed everything. Lauren became my closest ally, inviting me to shadow management meetings and asking for my ideas on guest experience tweaks. When a booking system crash left us overbooked by 25 rooms during a tech conference, I stayed up all night calling partner hotels, securing transfers, and arranging private shuttles. By morning, every guest was settled, and Lauren pulled me aside. "You're assistant manager now," she said. I called my parents, hoping this first big break might earn a nod. "Assistant manager." Dad laughed over the phone. "So you're still playing hotel clerk. When are you getting a real job?" I swallowed the hurt, hung up, and got back to work. Lauren kept pushing me, giving me projects beyond my role. When our Atlanta property started tanking occupancy down 30%, she recommended me to lead a turnaround. "This is high stakes," she warned. "The team's stubborn and Atlanta's market is brutal." I packed my bags the next day. In Atlanta, I rolled out a marketing campaign targeting young business travelers, revamped the bar menu for local flair, and retrained staff on personalized service. 9 months later, occupancy jumped 40%, and revenue per room led the market. The property went from a liability to a star. That success caught the eye of Michael Reed, CEO of Pinnacle Hotels. At 25, he invited me to join their fast-track executive program, Youngest Ever. My parents predictably weren't impressed. During a tense Thanksgiving call, I shared the news. "Fast track," my father said, barely hiding his skepticism. "Sounds temporary. You can't build a future serving cocktails." I stopped sharing after that. Instead, I poured myself into a secret plan, a detailed blueprint on my laptop for acquiring struggling boutique hotels. Nights were spent researching markets, pinpointing properties that matched my vision. When Lauren connected me with investors impressed by my Atlanta turnaround, I was ready. I'd rehearsed my pitch 100 times in my bathroom mirror. At 27, I signed papers for my first property, a faded gem in Austin, drowning in debt. The risk was terrifying. I'd wake at 3 in the morning, heart racing, questioning if I'd gambled everything, but by day I was all in. I built a lean team who bought into my vision for what became the first Hayes luxury hotel. We worked 16-hour days, from refinancing loans to picking out linens. When it reopened, bookings soared, hitting profitability 2 months ahead of schedule. That win fueled more. Austin's success drew funding for a second property, then a third. By 29, Hayes Luxury Hotels was a name in the industry known for tailored service and spaces that honored each building's history. Then came the big move, acquiring Pinnacle's entire portfolio. At 30, I rebranded it Hayes Luxury Hotels, overseeing 12 properties across 2 continents with over 2,000 employees. The business world called it a game changer. My family. They still thought I was a glorified manager. At an industry gala in Houston, I won the Rising Star in Hospitality Award. For the first time, my parents showed up looking out of place among executives. "Nice speech," Mom said afterward, her air kiss missing my cheek. "But isn't this hotel stuff a bit unstable?" Dad checked his watch, then added, "How much does this pay anyway?" Their words stung, but worse was the realization they'd never see what I'd built. Standing on that stage applauded by industry leaders, I decided their approval was a lost cause. I'd create something undeniable, a legacy that spoke for itself. After that gala, I stopped chasing my parents' approval and threw myself into building Hayes Luxury Hotels into something undeniable. Every property got my full attention, designing penthouse suites, choosing signature lobby sense training managers to anticipate guest needs before they spoke. My executive team became the family I leaned on. Lauren Mitchell, my colleague turned chief operating officer, offered the support my mother never did, pushing me to refine our vision while keeping me grounded. Contact with my real family dwindled to almost nothing. My brother Joshua only called when he needed something like a deal on a hotel stay for his law firm's clients. "Heard your chain's decent," he said once, clueless that I owned it. "Got any connections for a discount at the Phoenix property?" I bit back a laugh and said, "I might know someone." The next day, I had the manager upgrade his client to a VIP suite free of charge. Joshua later bragged to our cousin about his industry pull, never mentioning me. It stung, but I was used to being invisible to them. Then came a twist I didn't see coming. While reviewing booking records, I noticed a reservation under a fake name tied to my father's credit card. Digging deeper, I uncovered a secret he'd buried for years. Christopher Turner had lost millions in a bad real estate deal a decade ago, nearly bankrupting the family. He'd covered it up, maintaining his perfect lawyer image even from Mom. The discovery hit hard not because of the money, but because it showed how far they'd go to hide flaws while judging mine. Out of the blue, my younger sister Megan Turner texted me. She was 5 years younger, a school teacher, and the only family member I still felt close to, though we'd drifted as my career took over. "Andrew proposed," her message read. "We're planning a big anniversary party for their marriage next spring. Want you to be a bridesmaid if your hotel work lets you." Her warmth caught me off guard, stirring a mix of hope and dread. Then she added, "Mom and Dad booked your Phoenix hotel for it." Crazy coincidence, right? My stomach dropped. They had no idea I owned it. The booking alert hit my inbox soon after Turner Family Phoenix Property Spring Anniversary Celebration. High-value booking, full ballroom room block for 20 guests. I called Evan Brooks, the general manager in Phoenix. "They don't know it's my hotel," I told him. "Keep it that way for now." He paused, then said, "Got it, Miss Turner. We'll make it flawless." I wanted them to experience my world to see what I'd built before learning the truth. Maybe then they'd understand. Watching their venue tour via security cameras, I saw Megan beaming beside her fiancé Andrew Klein, clearly awestruck by the Phoenix property's grandeur. My parents, though, were less impressed. "The lobby feels a bit cramped," my mother remarked to Nicole Reed, our event coordinator, whom I'd handpicked for her poise. "These flowers are overdone," my father added, waving at the custom orchid displays I'd sourced locally. Nicole kept her cool, guiding them through the ballroom, a space I'd restored with original chandeliers and modern acoustics. Dad wasn't satisfied. "This standard package won't cut it," he said, leaning toward Nicole. "We expect upgrades for a booking this size." I texted Nicole, "Give them the elite celebration package at standard rates." It was a premium deal usually reserved for top-tier clients, with extras like private chefs and exclusive lounge access. I wanted Megan's day to be perfect despite my parents' attitude. Their demands kept coming: upgraded suites for family custom menu items not on our list, extended reception hours. Any other client would have been turned down flat. I approved every request, watching my staff strain to stay professional. Megan, sensing the tension, pulled Nicole aside during a planning session. "I'm sorry about my dad," she said when my parents stepped away. "He's being unreasonable." Nicole smiled. "We're here to make your day perfect." The rehearsal dinner held in our private dining room pushed things to the edge. My father took issue with the wine, a rare vintage served slightly too warm. "This is unacceptable," he said sharply to Joshua Lane, our young sommelier, his voice carrying across the room. "For what we're paying, I expect better. Get me the owner." My heart raced. I was there as a bridesmaid blending in, but his words echoed the useless text from months later. I nearly stepped in my secret on the tip of my tongue, but Megan's pleading look stopped me. This was her moment. I held back, but the tension was unbearable. Tomorrow's celebration would change everything. The morning of Megan's anniversary celebration dawned with clear phoenix skies, the kind of day event planners pray for. But my phone buzzed with chaos before I could even get coffee. Evan Brooks, the general manager, texted, "Your father wants a complete ballroom reset, says the table layout's wrong, despite signing off last week." It was 7 a.m. with the ceremony set for 4. A total overhaul was insane, but I authorized overtime for extra staff and called in our backup event team. Then came another message. "Your mother rejected the floral delivery demands, rare lilies not in season." By 9 more demands piled up, Dad wanted specific whiskeys added to the bar package, Mom insisted on new chair sashes, and both claimed forgotten guest allergies required a menu overhaul. Each request came with a veiled threat to take their business elsewhere, as if moving a 200-guest event with hours to spare was possible. I watched the staff scramble via security feeds, my patience fraying. By 11, Evan called, his calm voice cracking. "Miss Turner, your father's in the ballroom directing staff himself. He told Heather Grant, our veteran event planner, she doesn't know her job and should quit." Heather, who'd run events for top hotels before I hired her, didn't deserve that. Something snapped inside me. I texted Megan, "Need to talk to Mom and Dad about the event setup. Can you get them to the presidential suite? I'll explain soon." Her reply was quick, confused. "They're stressing everyone out. What's going on?" 20 minutes later, my parents stormed into the suite, irritation clear on their faces. I stood waiting with Evan, Nicole Reed, and 3 other executive team members. "Jessica, what's this about?" my father demanded. "We're busy fixing this hotel's mistakes." I took a deep breath, knowing this moment would break everything open. "I need to set something straight," I began. "The staff you've been criticizing aren't just employees, they're my employees. Every service you've demanded, every change you've pushed, I approved, because I own this hotel. Hayes Luxury Hotels is my company. I built it, all 12 properties across 2 continents. The room went silent. My mother's face froze, then twisted in confusion. "You work here, don't you?" she said. "Since when do you own anything?" My father's expression shifted from shock to defensiveness. "This is ridiculous," he snapped. "You're a manager, Jessica. You never said anything about owning a chain." I kept my voice steady. "I stopped sharing when you made it clear my work didn't matter. You called it a servant's job, laughed at my promotions. This company's worth $1 billion. I built it while you dismissed me. My mother sank into a chair, whispering, "How could we not know?" My father doubled down. "So you've been deceiving us, letting us book here without saying a word. What kind of stunt is this?" The accusation burned. "Deceiving," I shot back. "I've given interviews, won awards, been in the press for years. You never cared to look. I approved your every demand for Megan's sake, even when you treated my staff like they were beneath you." Megan and Andrew appeared at the door, her face pale. "What's happening?" she asked, eyes darting between us. "Your sister's been hiding this." My father started, but I cut him off. "I didn't hide anything. You never asked. When have you ever shown up for me? You skipped my graduation, ignored my awards, left me out of Joshua's celebrations." Megan's voice broke. "You own this place. Why didn't you tell me?" I softened. "I didn't want to keep explaining why they couldn't see me." My father waved me off. "This is no time for dramatics, Jessica. We have an event to finish, and now we learn you've been spying on us in your hotel." I couldn't hold back. 3,000 employees, 12 properties, $1 billion empire. I built this while you told everyone I had a cute little hotel job. He paused, then shifted gears. "Well, now we know. I assume we'll get family rates for future bookings." That was it, the final straw. "That's what you care about," I said, voice shaking. "Not what I've done, not how you've treated my team, just a discount." Andrew spoke up, hesitant. "Maybe we should move the event elsewhere. This feels too complicated." My father jumped on it. "Exactly. We don't need to impose on Jessica's business." I shook my head. "The contract's signed. It's too late to move." Then my phone pinged. Dad's text. "This hotel doesn't welcome useless people. Your presence upsets the family. Leave." I stared, stunned. They'd rather kick me out than face the truth. Escort Mr. and Mrs. Turner to their suite. I told Evan, my voice cold. "Megan, I'm sorry this is happening on your day." She started to cry, but I stepped out. That night, as the celebration went on without me, I watched via security feeds. Megan looked beautiful but strained. My parents smiled for guests, acting proud. At midnight, I texted security, "Revoke the Turner family's VIP access." Their key cards locked them out of the lounge, the premium amenities, everything. They called the front desk, furious. "Do you know who I am?" my father demanded. "Christopher Turner, guest, in room 8110. Nicole replied calmly. "We've adjusted your access per management." My phone lit up with 33 missed calls from them that night. I didn't answer a single one. Their words, useless, unwelcome, echoed in my head. I'd spent years proving myself, but this was the end. I wasn't fighting for their approval anymore. I was done. Sitting alone in my Phoenix office that night, watching the celebration unfold without me on security feeds, I felt a hollow numbness settle in. Those 33 missed calls from my parents, and Joshua kept flashing on my phone, their anger clear in every unanswered voicemail. I didn't listen to a single one. The word useless from my mother's text echoed, but instead of breaking me, it solidified my choice. I was done trying to prove myself to them. The days after were a blur of work. I buried myself in meetings, property reviews, anything to avoid the pain. My team noticed Lauren Mitchell now, my chief operating officer, caught me staring blankly at spreadsheets one morning. "Jessica, you're not okay," she said, closing my laptop. "You can't keep running from this." She'd seen me turn hurt into ambition for years, but this was different. "Talk to someone," she urged. "Not for them, for you." I nodded, the weight of her words sinking in. The next day I booked a therapist specializing in family dynamics. Therapy wasn't instant magic. It was hard peeling back years of rejection, my parents' dismissal, their favoritism toward Joshua, their absence at my milestones. I realized I'd built my empire to fill a void they'd left, measuring my worth by achievements they'd never value. "You don't need their approval to be whole," my therapist said. It hit like a revelation. I started seeing my success differently, not as a weapon against their judgment, but as something I'd earned for myself. I made a choice. I blocked my parents' numbers, then Joshua's. No more calls, no more texts. When Megan reached out her messages full of apologies and hope for connection, I hesitated. She'd always been the one family member I could have salvaged something with. But her wedding day had shown me the truth. Even she couldn't bridge the gap between me and our parents' toxicity. When she texted about her newborn Abigail Klein, my niece inviting me to meet her, I stared at the photo of a tiny face. My heart ached, but I replied, "I'm happy for you, but I need space." Then I blocked her too. It wasn't about anger, it was about protecting my peace. I channeled my energy into something bigger. I launched the Hayes Hospitality Foundation, funding scholarships for first-generation students chasing hospitality careers against their families' wishes. Watching young dreamers thrive free from the weight I'd carried gave me a joy I hadn't known. My work took on new meaning. When we opened our Las Vegas property, a sleek modern marvel overlooking the Strip, I approached it with balance. I delegated more, trusted my team, even slept full nights. The result was stunning, a testament to what I could create without burning myself out to prove a point. Standing on the balcony of that Las Vegas hotel, the city lights stretching below, I felt a quiet freedom. I'd spent years building an empire to show my family I wasn't useless. But in cutting them off, I learned a deeper truth. I turned to the skyline and said it out loud to myself. I learned that real success doesn't need validation from people who hurt you. Letting go of toxic ties is the only way to find peace within yourself. If your family dismisses your dreams, don't wait for them to change. Prove yourself for you, not them. And if those relationships drag you down, sometimes cutting them off is the bravest step forward. My empire, 12 properties, $1 billion, 3,000 employees stands because I chose myself. That's the lesson I carry, and I hope it resonates with you. Thank you all for listening to my story. If it struck a chord, hit that like button and subscribe for more journeys of resilience. Drop a comment below. Have you ever had to prove yourself to family who didn't believe in you? Share your story. I'm reading everyone.